If this video is helpful to you, please consider subscribing to our channel, like the video and comment your feedback. So first of all, I'm going to create a new React.js project. So for that, I'm going to create the new React.js project in this to-do folder. So I'm going to use the create React app, npx create React app, and giving the name as to-do project. Okay. So now the new React.js project will be created. It will take a few seconds. We have to wait for that. So new React.js project has been created. So I am going to run the projects to do project. Okay, so here is the new React.js project. Next, I am going to remove all the unwanted files or unwanted codes or boilerplate codes like logos, then app.test. Okay, then I'm going to remove this portion of index.js, and also I'm going to change the app.js. Okay, so now you can see the project here. Okay, so in this to do app, we are using three array methods in JavaScript. That is, one is map, then second is filter, then third is find. Map method will be used when we click the add button, and filter method will be used when we click the delete button, and find method will be used when we click the edit button. Okay, so the first and primary thing that needed in this to do app is an input field and button. Input field, and I'm going to give the placeholder as add task. Okay, next I'm going to create a button, and I'm giving the name of the button as add. Okay, so next thing that we have to do, so I am going to do is to create a or define a state. So the first thing that we have to do is to enter each of the tasks into this input field. So we know that here is the input field and button. So into this input field, we have to give each task as like this way. So this each task need to be stored into a state. So for that, I am going to define a state, and I'm going to give the state as task set task. So we are going to give a string into this task. So I'm giving it as string into this initial field, the initial state. Okay. So next we can alter this task through this on change of this add task input field. Okay. So for that, you're going to use this set task in this add task input field, and I'm going to give the e.target value here as like this way. Okay, now we can see that when we logged the task, we can see in the console, such as, so I'm going to give any task into this add task input field. So I'm giving that bar thing. So here you can see that this is the task is logged in this console. So okay, so that is stored. So I'm going to remove it. Next, what we have to do is when we click this add button, we need to add each of these tasks into an array. So for that, I'm going to give the a function into this on click of the button. So I'm giving the a name of the function as add button. Okay. So next thing that we have to do is to define this add button. So I'm going to define the add button as an arrow function. Okay. So the purpose of this add button is to list each of these tasks into a array, or fill each of these tasks into an array. So for that, first of all, we have to define a state. So I'm giving the name of the state as task list, and I'm giving the initial state as an empty array. Okay. Now the next thing that we have to do is to give each of these tasks into this array. So for that, I'm going to use this set task list, and the thing that we have to do is to spread this task list, and we have to add each task after the other. Okay, now when I logged the task list, you can see that. Okay, so I'm going to give each of the task exercise, and next I'm going to give the uh, coding. Okay, so you can see that when we are adding each of the task into this input field, it will be added to the array as like this way. Okay, so next I am going to add lunch, and when I click add button, you can see that it is adding like this way into this array one by one. Okay, so next thing that we have to do is to list each of the items or each of the task in this array uh, into the screen. So for that, I'm going to use the map method. Okay, so here below this add button, I am going to use this task list map method into this task list. So here you can see that we can list each of the items as like this way. So I am giving the each of the item as each element, or each, or I'm giving it as item. Okay, so now we can access these items as like this way. So when we look the browser, you can see that yes, there is exercise coding lunch. So I'm refreshing it, and I'm adding again bathing and coding, reading. Okay, so here you can see that we have done the primary things or basic things in a to-do list app. So first of all, we have created the input, then we have added the button, and then we have listed the items as like this way. So next we have to do is to give an edit button and a delete button. Okay, so I'm going to create an edit button and a delete button. So we can create an edit button here in this list itself as like this way. So here I'm going to give as edit, and here I'm going to give or use a span for delete button. So you can see that here it is edit and delete. So I'm going to give a style for making it more visible. So I am giving the color of this edit button as blue and the color of the delete button as red. Okay, so here you can see that there is delete button and edit button. So next we have to give the function to this on click of edit button and delete button. So here I am going to remove this console and I am going to define two functions. That means into this edit I'm going to pass a function, that is I'm going to give the name of the function as edit click. Okay, so and like that of edit I'm going to give a function into this on click of the delete. So I'm going to pass the name of the function as delete click. So next thing that we have to do is to define the edit click and delete click button. So first of all, I am going to define the delete click button. So const delete click as an arrow function. Okay, so as like that of delete, we are going to define the edit button. Okay, now first of all, I am going to define the delete button. So here the method, that is filter, is using the filter method of JavaScript is using in this delete button. So because we know that filter method is used to list the given array with a certain condition. Okay, so we have to do is such that when we click on this delete button, we have to show this or list this array with a task removed. Okay, without a given task. So we have to identify that task and we have to list the new items in this array, or we have to alter the list. So here I'm going to use the set task list. So first of all, in the set task list, we have to pass a new array. That means, first of all, I'm going to spread this task list and I'm going to add items to this, or I'm listing the new array in this task list. So for that, I am going to use the filter method. So based on such a particular condition, we have to create a list of items in this task list array. Okay, so the condition I am giving is such that in this filter method we have two arguments, that is element and the index. So I am giving the index as element ID. So next we have to do is to compare this element with another ID. That means the ID we are getting from here. Okay, so here we know that in the map method also there will be a second argument, that means the index of the items. So we can pass the index of the items as like this way into this delete click button. So here we can access this index or ID as like this way, and here we can take this ID as the parameter. So now we can compare the ID that we have got from the when we are calling this delete click, and also the ID from the filter method. So as okay, so here we have taken the element ID as a second argument of this filter method, and we have compared the second argument, that is ID, with this ID. That means the ID that we have got from this from this listing of map. Okay, from here we can list that this ID which is not equal to the ID that we get from this here. Okay, that means in the delete click method, what we have doing is that we are creating a new array such that a particular uh, element is not present. So we are comparing these two IDs. So I think it is very clear. Okay, now you can see that when we move to the browser and I am going to click this delete button, you can see that that coding will be removed from that list. Okay, you can see that there is no coding. Okay, now I am going to uh, create another, uh, that means jogging. Okay, then now when I click on the delete button, you can see that that jogging will be removed. Okay, now next we have to do is the edit click. So we have done the delete click, then next we have to do the edit click. So edit click also, we have to understand which, when we click this edit button, we have to know which item is selected. So for that we also need to pass the uh, uh, ID into this edit click button also. So for that, as like that of the delete click button, we can pass the ID, that means index, into this edit click as like this way. So in this edit click button, when we are defining this click button, we can get the ID here as like this way, and we have to use a method, that is the method we are going to use this edit button is find. So because we have to find which item that we need to edit. Okay, in the delete button, we have listed an array or items in the array by identify the element. That means the element, the array or the list of the elements, which is removing removing a particular element. But in the edit click, we need to identify that element because we need to perform the edit. So for that, we are going to use the find method. So we are going to apply the find method in the task list state. So into this task list state, we are going to use the find method. So in the find method, also we will have two arguments. That means one is the element, each element. Then next is the element ID. Okay. Then we can compare the element ID with this ID. So here we are comparing this element ID. Okay. Here we will get the item. So I am going to give assigning this to the variable item, and I am going to log this item. So you can see that in the console. So when I click the edit button, you can see that yes. So I clicked on bathing. So here there is the bathing task. Okay, so that's the purpose of find the method in this edit click. So when I click the so I am going to add this jogging here, and also I am going to add another thing, that is a lunch here, and dinner, shopping. Okay, so when we are click on the edit button, this lunch, so I'm going to click on this edit button, that means nearer to the or the edit button of the lunch task. So at that time this lunch need to be appeared in this input. So now when I clicked on the edit button, you can see that nothing is changed in the input field. So what we have to do is that when we click on the edit button, we have to show this particular task into this input field, and only we can edit that. So for that, I am going to do is I am going to create a new input field and also a new button. Okay, so that means an input field for particularly for edit, and button particularly for the edit. Okay, so here I'm going to give this as update or edit task as the placeholder, and I'm giving the name of this button as update. So I'm going to give this update button and add button and edit task and add task inputs as conditionally. So here we have to give a particular condition. Okay, so for that I am going to define a particular state, and I am giving the name of the state as edit, then that is set edit. I am passing initial state as false. Okay, now when I click on this edit button, the edit button to the particular task. That means so here into this edit button, when I click on this edit button, we have to change the state of this, change the state. That means this button means edit click function. So into this edit click function, I am going to give that set edit such as not equal to edit. Okay, so now it is the state is changed. Okay, next thing that we have to do is to give this state here. That means when it is edit, that means when edit is true, we have to show the edit input. Okay, otherwise we have to show the add input. As like that of this, sorry. Okay, so as like that of this, we have to show the edit button when the edit is true, and we have to show uh, add button when it is false. Okay, now you can see that. So I am going to add each task, reading, exercise, lunch. Okay, so next I'm going to click on edit button. You can see that now this add button will change to edit button. Okay, now this is updated, and also you can see that this is edit task. This input is edit task. So next we have to do is so okay, so we have changed the button and the input. So next we have to do when we click on edit button is such that we need to specifically give this task into this input. So for that, in this edit click, I am going to change the state. That means set task as I am giving this item, particular item into this set task. So first of all, I have to do that when I click on the add button after any adding any task to this to this list, I have to do is to remove this particular task from the text field. Okay, so for that, otherwise we can add this lunge more and more time. That is not good. So we have to remove whenever we click on add button. We have to remove the particular task from the input field. So for that, in the add button, I am going to give the set task as empty string. In the input of this add, we have to pass the value as like this way. That means value is task. Okay, so now you can see that whenever I added any items, so for the example I am adding the reading. So now you can see that okay, this input field will be empty. Okay, so next I am adding coding. So here you can see that now the input field is empty. So the when I click on the edit button, you can see that this coding, or when I click on the edit button, that specific task will be uh, given into this input field. So when I click this, uh, oh sorry, we have to give the uh, value in this input also. That means into this edit. Okay, So now you can see that when I click on the any uh, when I click on any of this task of edit button, you can see that this particular task will be given in this or will be appeared in the text field. So I am clicking the edit button. So you can see that the coding will be appeared. I am clicking in this edit button of reading. You can see that that reading will be appeared in this input field. So that is the first step that we have to done when we are doing the edit. So we have created an edit click button into which we have passed the ID and we have compared that ID and we got the particular element, and that element is passed into the state for showing it in the index. So now we can uh, uh, edit this input field. So for that we need to, I'm going to pass another function, that is edit button into this, sorry, here, not here, edit button into this here. Okay, so we have to define the, so we have to define the so we have to define this edit button function as like this way. So okay, in this edit button we are going to use one another method also. I have forgot to say that uh, we are going to use the splice method in this edit button again, in this edit button. So the splice method is used to replace a particular element. So in the task list we are going to use the splice method. So with the task list I'm going to use the splice method. In the splice method we know that we can pass three arguments. One is the index from where we need to change the or the particular index that we need to replace. So here we so index that we need to change will be the id. So that means id is given here. So I am going to pass this id into another state. So for that I am going to define a state, that is I'm going to give the name of the state as id. Here I'm going to pass this id of the particular element. So in the set id I'm going to give the id as such id as like this way. So now we can use that id into this splice as the first argument, and uh, we need to replace one item. So I am going to give the one here. The next argument that we need to pass is the task. Okay, so I have given the task. So now you can see that I am adding a new items. So when we click on this edit, it will be converted into update. So when we click on update, it need to be changed to add. So for that, in this edit button also we have to give this set the state as like this way. So you can see that now when I click on the update button, it will be add. Okay, and also when I click on this update button, we need to make set task to empty. Okay, so here, so I am refreshing and adding the task. Okay, then I am clicking on edit of the coding. Here it comes. Then I am changing it into just the letters. Then I am clicking update. Yeah, and you can see that this it is changed to q. It is I'm going to change the length also. I'm clicking that and I am going to give just letters m. Now you can see that when I click on the update button, this length will be converted to the M. Okay, and I'm clicking on the rating, and I'm adding items here. Yes, then when I click on the update button, you can see that this rating is changed like this way. So the functionality of the to do app, we have done all the functionalities of to do app. That means we have created the input, we have created add button, delete button, edit button, so we can delete each of the items like this way. Then next I'm going to give just a simple styling. So I'm giving a margin left 200 px as like this way, just to give 500, it will be okay. Then next then I'm giving the margin top. So here you can see that I'm using margin top, and I am giving the 250 px. So it will be here, fine. And next I am giving color or the border to the border as solid 2 px or 1 px gray. Okay, now you can see that there's a border here, and I am giving the width of the border. Width of the border as to 150 px. Okay, no, 250 px. Okay, then I am giving the padding as like this way. You can see that here. Yes, okay. Now I am giving the background color also. Background color, and I am giving the yellow color. Okay, now you can see that it is not appealing when we are looking the UI side, but please consider it. Okay, now you can see I'm giving another color to make it better. Okay, so here I'm using any color like this way. Okay, okay, now you can see that it will be fine. Yeah, not bad. So I'm going to add items like we can I'm going to change the color of this each item, and I'm giving the style here also, color to white. It will be fine as like this way. Okay, so now you can see that here is the each items coding, lunch, dinner. Okay, I think it is fine. It is not appealing in when it is considered in the UI side, but the functionalities are okay, and I think it is very clear. If this video is helpful to you, please consider subscribing to your channel, like the video, and also comment your feedback. Thank you.